Hi everyone, Andrew here again. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Out and about, walking around Lao Cai here in Vietnam, and once again I'm over near the riverbank. I'm just going to flip the camera around so you can get to see what I'm seeing here. As you can see, it's a very grey and cloudy day. Not much visibility up into the mountains over there in the distance, but it is nice today. It's 15 to 20 degrees. I've got my bobble hat on and my jacket keeping me warm, but it's nice to be out and about walking. There we go. So yeah, quite recently I've been doing some live YouTube videos, just testing out how that works. So posting I suppose an hour-long YouTube video, noticed that when the long videos are there, or even if it might just be because they're live ones, people seem to watch for longer. So that's good for the watch hours for sure. But it's just interesting. I'm just experimenting with all of this just to see what the best way of doing things are. And talking of experimenting, I've got a few more settings today to look at. I'm on the DJI Osmo Pocket 2 gimbal camera, fabulous for doing these sort of vlogging style videos as I'm walking around. Today I've set it at 4K 24 frames. I wanted to see the difference. I've been using 4K, 1080p, etc., but at 60 frames. So obviously 60 frames means there's 60 frames or 60 pictures per second, and it means it's a smoother one, and 24 frames is less, but our sort of eyes see more likely at 24 frames per second, so that's why 60 frames appears much more smoother, like a buttery, unrealistic style, whereas the 24 should appear a lot more realistic when I look back on it later. But it's just interesting to see the difference. Obviously I've done it before many times with my mobile phone, checking the difference, but I wanted just to see what it was like using the Osmo. And I think in the next video I'll go to 30 frames at 4K and just check that as well. Interesting, this camera will actually has a few different settings. You've got 1080p, you've also got a sort of a 2K and a 4K setting. You've got the 24 frames, you've got 25 frames, you've got 30 frames. I think there's a 48, a 50 and a 60. So there's quite a lot of different choices you can make. And there's a few different settings in terms of the color of the actual camera produces. So I'm just using the auto settings here, so it's just coming out in its normal color mode, its normal color profile. But you can change it to a DJI version, I think it's called Cine-like, which is a flat profile, so that you can then go back into that later on and actually do some color correcting and change a few things. But I do find the auto setting on this is quite realistic in terms of its colors. It doesn't oversaturate like a lot of the mobile phones do. It keeps it nice and realistic, which is important. And obviously in 4K it should be a nice high quality video as well, which I like. Yeah, it's just nice to get out and about walking, doing something today to improve my tomorrows. It's very important to me, exercising and moving around. And like I've been saying recently, it's great to explore the area that you're living in, especially if you've just moved to somewhere like I have recently. Although I say recently, it was back in December. I think I arrived on the 18th of December. So it's a couple of months in now, but it's still nice to get out, and I'm still enjoying the area in terms of, excuse me, apologies about that, guys. I had the flu last week and I've still got a little bit of a cough hanging around as my body's still trying to clear some of the catarrh, I think is the word, isn't it? The phlegm. So apologies already. I'm using the mic, the wireless mic. Let me just show you there. I find the quality of that is awesome, and it's so simple. You just click it in, turn it on, and it connects almost instantaneously to the DJI Osmo Pocket. I can't really show you here, but the camera itself comes in two sections. It's got a very small adapter about this big or so that attached to the bottom of it, which gives you the Wi-Fi access and also the Bluetooth or the wireless function to connect to the wireless microphone. But it also makes the device slightly bigger, and I find that easier to hold when I'm walking around. It's got the gimbal function. The camera itself is on a little gimbal there, so it follows me, tries to keep me in the center. I've actually switched off the face tracking mode. I find that sometimes it just loses the face and just goes a bit funny. but in this what we call follow mode, you can see it's nice and stable as I'm walking. You might see a little bit of up and down movements, but generally speaking, it's awesome camera stabilization. And because it's a mechanical stabilization, it's really good. If you've ever used your mobile phone in a gimbal, it's exactly the same, but on a small style. Little experiment I was doing earlier, testing out how to do YouTube live with this camera. It is possible to do that, which is cool. The only downside to it is you do actually need to activate the live, the go live function in Studio or YouTube Studio directly. You can't do it through the app. So you set it all up in the DJI app, and it basically goes live. But to actually make it fully live, you have to go into YouTube itself and click on the live button. But unfortunately, you can't do that within the app. Every time you try and open the full web version of Studio, it keeps opening the app that I've got on my phone. So it's one of them where it's going to be much easier if you actually get a desktop to be able to just click live and off you go. It's a bit of a shame because the app that I'm using for my mobile phone called Prism Live, you don't need to do any of that. As soon as you hit go live, it's going live. It takes care of everything at the YouTube end. The reason I said Facebook is that app actually can do both. You can go live to Facebook, you can go live to YouTube, but you can also go live to both at the same time. And we've been doing a few videos with my daughter's Facebook page, Awesome Lexi Vlogs, and we did some live videos recently, last couple of nights, just to test that out. But also I think we're going to test out being able to go to live to Facebook and YouTube at the same time, which will be quite interesting how that works. I can only imagine it's having to send two versions of the file, or is it being sent to a server and then it's going from there? I really don't know. If it's sending two versions of the file, obviously that's going to take a lot of data up if you're in a data package, or if you're on the Wi-Fi, it's probably not as much of a problem. There's a little island here. Let me flip the camera around. Sorry to sort of change subject pretty quickly, but I've got to a point where I wanted to show you. Here's the river, beautiful river, the Red River. And then there's this, I'm going to use the word random island right in the middle here. And the waterway goes both round the sides of this island. There appears to be some form of, I suppose, little farm in the middle there. And then the water carries on round. As you saw from the last video, further up this river you come to the border for China, with Vietnam on one side and China on the other, which is still pretty amazing. No matter how many times I see it or I think about it, it's an amazing thing to be so close to another country with so differing cultures. Obviously, Asian countries have similar sort of cultures, but it's still strange to be that close to two different countries, but without the ability, obviously, just to be able to pop over and see what it's like in China. I do know some people who have been into China from this side, and there's sort of two parts to it. There's an area where the local Vietnamese can get a very simple visa to cross over into that particular part of the town. If they want to go further into China, they have to get a different visa. So it's quite interesting. They can get into the frontier or the border town just over the border, but with a visa. They have to have a special visa, pre-approved, obviously. But if they want to go further and more into China, they have to have a different one. Lots of coffee places here. Let me just flip it round again. This whole front, this is actually the front area that I first experienced when I came to Lao Cai back in December. We came up from the airport in Hanoi, and on our way up we actually came into the town here before going up to the golf course, and we stopped and we had some local dish pho, which is a really nice sort of noodles style, brothy, hard to explain, hot pot style food. It was lovely. We stopped at a cafe here and I was able to look out obviously onto the river, and I thought this is a lovely place. And then there's lots of little cafes running along this road. It's quite a popular part. A lot of people walking up and down here for exercise in the evenings. And during Tet, all of this was filled with tents and sellers selling trees, selling things for Tet. So that was quite cool to see. yeah, so I'm going to carry on with my walk. I'm going to do a big one today, got lots of time to get out and about, and I'm going to follow my 3 key mottos, which, as you all know by now, is get up, get out and get it done. Do something today to improve your tomorrows, and what can be measured can be improved. It's almost the end of February, we're nearly into March, and obviously I'm completing my review of the month and focusing on what can I do next month to improve my health and fitness. I'm on a journey, as you know, to getting healthy and getting fit, and at the moment my exercise of choice is walking. Eventually I'll get myself a bicycle, get back into biking, and maybe even get part of a gym at some point. But I do like being outside, so for me gyms serve a purpose, but I'd rather be outside in nature, exercising and moving around and visiting these different places and seeing these different sites. So from Lao Cai, Vietnam, I'll leave you all, and I'll see you all again soon for another awesome update. Stay safe, stay happy, and I'll see you again. Thanks.